Hello, this is my TOK essay breakdown series for November 2023. In these videos I'll be unpacking the key terms from the title, as well as looking at the question through the lens of two AOKs. For a more detailed analysis, examples and ideas for how to approach this title, using the different AOKs, components of the knowledge framework, and other TOK concepts, please check out the full written guide link in the description. Okay, we're looking at title 4, which is it problematic that knowledge is so often shaped by the values of those who produce it? Discuss with reference to any two areas of knowledge. Alright, let's start with some possible key terms. First word I have chosen is values. So here I have defined this as a set of beliefs, principles and ideas that guide an individual or group's attitudes, choices and behaviours. Another important word here is problematic, so something that poses difficulties, challenges or issues, something which has potentially problematic implications in general. And finally, shaped by, so influencing the development, formation or construction of something. If you're answering this question, some points you might like to consider. Firstly, think about how certain groups or perspectives may be excluded from the process of knowledge production, and what are some potential implications of this. So things like a lack of representation, or is it perhaps necessary that some viewpoints are excluded? And on a related point, think about the role of power in this context. Knowledge is so often produced by those belonging to elite academic institutions, those who work in government. So perhaps does this entail the risk of elitism in knowledge production? And finally, even if we accept that there are issues with value-based knowledge production, is it really that much of a problem when various checks exist which can hold those who produce knowledge to account, such as peer review? Right, let's get into our AOKs. The first one I have chosen is human sciences. And beginning with a lead-in, the values of those who produce knowledge are especially relevant to the subject matter of this AOK, given that the human sciences, of course, deal with human behaviour, societies and systems. For the claim, I have said that values can have a problematic influence, as they may result in important areas of research being overlooked. So a fairly recent example of this is in 2021, a report highlighted how research funding by the US's National Institute of Mental Health, which has traditionally evenly balanced its funding between so-called basic and clinical research, has pretty dramatically shifted to only dedicating 10% of its research funding to basic research. Okay, how much of that is down to the values of those in charge is perhaps up for debate, but it's probably a factor. For the counterclaim, I have said that values are essential to knowledge production in this AOK, and one reason for this being the need for qualitative approaches in the human sciences, because if we're thinking about disciplines such as sociology and psychology, a lot of associated phenomena aren't directly observable, right? You can't necessarily take a quantitative approach to human behaviour, which means more qualitative or interpretive approaches are necessary here. And moreover, a researcher's values are essential in shaping the questions being asked, the research design, and ultimately the analysis of the data. Bring these ideas together in a mini conclusion. I have said that on the one hand, the influence of values of those who produce knowledge in the human sciences can result in important topics being neglected. Okay, so this is the negative aspect. Nevertheless, they are a critical component of knowledge production in this AOK. and then an implication of this being that we should scrutinise the impact of values without necessarily seeking to eliminate their role in knowledge production altogether. Alright, our second AOK is the arts. Again, beginning with a lead-in. The values of both the artist and audience play a significant role in the interpretation of art. And for the claim, we'll start by saying that the influence of values in knowledge production is not problematic, but actually useful. One reason being, in the context of art, is it allows for a deeper understanding of a particular piece in terms of the context it was created in, the intentions of the artist. Okay, an example we can use here are the works of Frida Kahlo, I think I pronounced that correctly, who's a famous Mexican painter, and her works often portray her values and beliefs regarding such topics as equality, social justice, feminism, etc. And interpreting her paintings with these values in mind allow us to kind of see beyond the basic surface level aesthetic features of her works and give us more kind of background information and an understanding of the socio-political context in which she resided. For the counterclaim, however, we'll say that actually, yes, it can be problematic in certain situations. One of those situations being when certain individuals or groups co-opt works of art for political ends, and often in a way which is completely contrary to the original artist's intention or ideology. An example of this can be seen with how alt-right groups in the United States in recent times have kind of co-opted traditionally left-wing protest songs, kind of anti-establishment songs, for their own political ends. Bring these ideas together in a mini conclusion. We say that the influence of values on the interpretation of art can be problematic. However, said influence also allows for a greater range of interpretations and the production of deeper contextual knowledge. As I mentioned, for essay guides and also for prompts and personal feedback, feel free to check out my website, toklifeline.com. Many thanks for watching.